Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. And today we begin a new journey together, a journey of discovery and of growing in our faith. And the title of this series of devotionals is Living Faith. Don't you want living faith? And it's Paul's story. We're going to learn about Paul's story. Paul's story began before Paul. Your story, my story, began before we were even born. Paul's story began before he even knew Jesus Christ, the same as yours and mine. Now, I love the song Waymaker, Waymaker, and I especially love the lyric that says, even when I don't see it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when we don't see Jesus working, he is working. Now, if you recall, Jesus was arrested, he was crucified, and he was buried. And his followers were confused. It was a dark, dark time for them. Their world was turned upside down. They were ready to give up. Some of them started going back to where they came from. And we are all like that at times. Situations happen which just turn our life upside down. Things don't go the way we imagined they would go. They take a turn. Things have an unexpected twist. And a real fear was in the hearts of his followers. They were afraid that they were the next ones. They were going to be arrested and they would be killed also. They couldn't see what Jesus was doing. They couldn't see that he was working. Paul at this time is one of the Pharisees who was getting ready to start persecuting the followers of Jesus. He's not mentioned in the Bible yet, but he was a Pharisee. Maybe he heard Jesus talk while Jesus was interacting with Pharisees. Maybe he was in the crowd with the other Pharisees. Definitely they had meetings where Paul was present talking about this guy, Jesus. But we don't know if he ever really saw Jesus or not. But he had definitely heard of Jesus, knew about him, because Paul was a relatively high-ranking Pharisee, religious ruler. Maybe Paul cast his vote in the Sanhedrin, the group of Pharisees and Jewish leaders that decided things. Maybe he cast his vote to have Jesus killed. He definitely cast his vote to have others killed, which is what the Sanhedrin did. He even mentions that in Acts 26:10. He cast his vote. So Paul was around during the ministry of Jesus and at the time of the crucifixion. And it was a dark time for the followers of Jesus, a confusing time for the followers of Jesus, a scary time for the followers of Jesus. Did Jesus have a plan? What was happening? And that's my question and your question at times in our lives. As we begin Paul's story, let's begin with Acts chapter 1, verse 1 through 2. In my former book, Theophilus, I wrote about all that Jesus began to do and to teach until the day he was taken up to heaven, after giving instructions through the Holy Spirit to the apostles he had chosen. Now note, it says, Luke, who wrote this, says all that he began to do, all that Jesus began to do. The word began. That means he wasn't finished with what he was doing. He had begun to do things, but it was not yet finished. It was an unfinished work, and he would continue doing what he did. Jesus died, but he was not finished with what he was doing. The plan was moving forward. It says he began to do and teach and give instructions to his followers before he went up to heaven. So there was a plan in place. Everything was according to Jesus' plan. It wasn't unexpected. In fact, his crucifixion was actually part of the plan. And the big plan began all the way back in Genesis. And that plan would continue throughout the Bible, clear as light throughout the Bible until its consummation on the day Jesus returns again. The followers were in a dark time, but God's plan was continuing. God's plan even involved someone they would have never imagined would be a key part of God's plan, a Pharisee named Paul. Are you in a time of darkness? Can't see what God is doing? I've been there. We'll probably be there again in the future. We all are there at some point. Never forget, God's plan is going forward. He will complete the work he has done in your life. He will complete his plan in your life and for your family, even when you can't see him. Jesus is at work. He's always working. He's always working. And he will complete what he has started. So my encouragement today to all of us is never, ever, ever give up. Jesus is working his plan. God bless you.